Hello, everyone, and welcome to another interview. And this time, I have a pleasure of interviewing Anna Pichowski. Hello, Anna, and welcome.
Hello, I'm Erin.
Thank you for joining me here. So, Anna is a trauma-informed yoga teacher and somatic movement coach. And I've had the pleasure of working with you, Anna, before because you are at the you are a graduate now of the trauma-informed somatic teacher and coach for women training certification. But we also worked together a couple of years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about that 3, 4 years ago. Yeah,
Oh,
now I
yeah,
think.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, quite a while ago, and in the trauma-informed yoga teacher training certification. So, really lovely chatting with you, and thank you for taking time to be here for this conversation. And I think that a good place to start would be for you to actually talk a little bit about your own journey and how you ended up doing what you're doing right now.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me. My own journey. So when I was first drawn to your work and your teachings, um, I just had my little girl, who's now 5, and I was going through like a tricky time personally. I was teaching a little bit, and I completed my yoga teacher training before my little girl, and but I just wasn't quite. I didn't feel quite right and at home, like in myself, and I was drawn to your work because I'd always been interested ever since I'd done my yoga teacher training on kind of working like one-to-one to people with people. I'd always wanted to go down that more therapeutic route. And then because of my background and things I'd been through when I was younger, and I had kind of experience of baby loss, and a difficult journey there. I was really drawn to your course when I saw it online, and it really kind of revolutionized and changed the way I thought and took my experience with the world, just learning about the symptoms of trauma, because I had kind of, not much understanding of it. And I thought some of the symptoms that I had, like anxiety and kind of feelings of disconnect, I thought they were just me, like kind of checking things and, finding it difficult to maybe kind of leave the house sometimes. And I thought, well, that's just me. That's just the way I am. And so the education, like around trauma, was really, really big for me. Um, and then over the next, I suppose, yeah, kind of 3 to 4 years, I started to kind of slowly weave that into my classes and also kind of use that learning to support myself through like the body scanning, and just gaining kind of more understanding of that kind of mind body connection. Um, and then I had my eye on your somatic movement and coaching course for quite a while. And I just kind of knew when I read through the course content that I was going to do that course. And I was just waiting kind of for the right opportunity to come up. But I don't know, I just knew something in me knew, and it just really resonated. And the mind, body, soul, the soma, psyche, soul connection. Um, I'd already started to understand through your first training just sort of how important that was. And not just moving physically within, a yoga practice and making shapes, but actually, how does that feel in our body? And not just kind of listening to instructions, but exploring the way we move. And I'd also done a little bit of somatic movement work with different teachers, um, like just touched them upon it here and there. And every time, and I used it during my pregnancy actually as well, I was really taken back by how I just felt like a release in my body, like more of a connection with my body. And so that had always stayed in my mind. And I was like, how do I, explore this more? How can I bring this into my teaching? So yeah, that's kind of a bit of an overview. And then I think also I also said to you when I did my first training with you was that I always had the sense because of my experience through motherhood and baby loss that I wanted to look at how I could explore supporting other women that have maybe gone through loss.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I just felt, something in here, I just knew that it was the right direction to go through. And I was really drawn to like the coaching side of it as well. And exploring like language and different kind of methods that we can use to support people to check in with their needs. Because I think as women, we are incredible at doing so many different roles and caring for people. But I had learned over the years that I was so good at just shutting off from my feelings or kind of powering through. So yeah, I think, that whole like, how do I feel? Which should be good to your course is like, what do I need? And how do I feel in this present? What can I do to support my needs in this present moment? But those three questions have been like massive to me, like incredible. And then bringing those into my current teaching as well is really lovely to kind of watch other people explore. And so simple as well. So
I mean, it's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing a little bit about your journey. Like, what I find really amazing about you is, witnessing this kind of journey that you've been on from, how you felt when we first met and that first training. And then you've done a lot of work, personal work behind the scenes as well, and then doing the second training. And now I think I just saw something on Facebook about an offering that that you put out there, which comes from this dream, this passion of wanting to support other women. Could you say a little bit about that? Because I think that's a really wonderful offering.
I want to do it, explore and see whether it would work to take like an online women's circle to support mothers that have gone through baby loss. Because I think, is that the one that
Yes.
you were thinking? Because I kind of, one of my experiences is like how isolated that you can feel when you have gone through loss. And I think the connection, when I first started going to kind of my own, like to women's circles, that connection of other women being together was really powerful. And that full being able to listen to each other, which we do so much like within your training as well, listening to each other and not fixing each other, but just hearing exactly how we're feeling in that moment. That compassionate listening. And it's just because people often don't know what to say to you, or they're so shocked by the whole experience themselves that they feel really uncomfortable, so they might even like avoid you, or you might avoid people because you feel like you don't want to shock them about your experience. So there's so much there. And I think if you want to, obviously it's a woman's own choice, but if you want to talk about it, like I feel really passionately about kind of trying to create spaces, maybe we hold rituals or we can read poems, and just be together, kind of honoring grief rather than kind of pushing it away and boxing it up, or just getting on with life. Because I've tried to do that, and it was really a real struggle. It just came up in other ways, kind of like anxiety and brain fog. and it can show up obviously differently for different people. And so, yeah, that's just been a kind of really important thing within my healing journey. And yeah, I'm just hoping maybe the online space might be like a safe place to explore that
Mhm.
for people. So yeah, it's kind of a new idea, and I kind of put it out there. And yeah, I'm thinking kind of, yeah, that I'd like to kind of move forward with it. And then yeah, hopefully kind of raise a little bit more awareness. And it is getting better now. Like I think, there is more awareness, and they're bringing in new laws like in Parliament for women to have, 2 weeks, if they've experienced miscarriage, to have that 2 weeks that they're allowed to have off. So, we are talking about it more, which is really good.
I mean, what you are talking about is such a important thing, and using women's circles and online space, so women can join from anywhere. It's not just limited to it being locally,
Yeah, exactly.
within the driving or walking distance, but actually connect with other women from other areas of UK or even the world is such a powerful thing. It makes it so much more accessible. And I know for those of us that have experienced anxiety, to go to new places can be extremely challenging, but to do it from the safety of your own home, where you are supported by the safety of your immediate environment, and then afterwards also be able to be in a safe environment where you are, is such a powerful thing. And there is something in here about what you just mentioned, that it's such a difficult topic to talk about, and so many people just avoid it, whether it's the person that experienced it avoiding others, or whether it's other people because they don't know what to say. To actually hold a space within a women's circle to acknowledge that without needing to fix it is such a powerful message. To actually connect with other women who understand what's going on, for what might be going on for you, and actually not trying to do anything in particular with it, but just giving it space and being with it together. It's such a wonderful thing. And I saw some, when I saw your post about bringing that offering, I also read through some of the comments under that offering, and so many women really acknowledging how powerful that offering is, and how powerful that offering is being offered by you because of your own experience, because of the journey that you've been on, which is really wonderful. Yeah. So I hope that I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing how it unfolds for you, and how it develops for you.
Yeah, definitely.
So sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, go on.
I was gonna say, I wanted to ask about, because you already answered the question, why you signed up for the training. But I wanted to ask, from your experience of doing this work, like understanding your needs, learning more about trauma, learning more about how to bring the Soma Psyche Soul coaching model together, and really doing it for yourself, because we always have to start with us, and then bringing it into your own work. I was wondering, what are the kind of main shifts within yourself and within your work that you noticed as a kind of effect or impact of that work?
There was so much that I took away from it, but some things that kind of, yeah, immediately come into mind is that creating your own rhythm, and creating. So I think yeah, and something that supports, like, your nervous system and your experiences that, you've had with life and your connections with the world around you. Because I think I when kind of, I always kind of knew I wanted to create my own business. But it's like, how do I do that? How do I do that in a way that, we did at the beginning of the course that, links in with my values and there's different kind of spaces I want to create within my life in terms of, how I divide out my time and how I support my energy levels. And so,
Yes, and
yeah,
having a 5-year-old, or
mm,
how old is your daughter now?
yeah, she's 5.
Five,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's
So
first year
having a
of school.
5-year-old obviously means that
Mm,
you also want to spend time with your family and your daughter. Yeah.
yeah. And then, just little things like, I'm quite sensitive, to tech and find it hard to like sit down for like really long periods of time.
Mm.
Which, I was doing before I started the course. I'd sit there for like hours, like, tensing up and tensing up. Whereas, now I know, and I'd end up really kind of wired at the end of the day and, feeling quite stressed. Whereas now I know, like little like power hours, and then I'll have a little break. And you know, just like the smallest techniques, like, like the grounding down through our feet and connecting with our feet. If, I'm feeling really up here. I mean, and I suppose it was, I was very good at doing my practices before I started the course. And, but, they'd become quite a rigid routine of, I do this at this time because this is what I do. But whereas now I think about, what do I need? Actually, do I need something? Do I need like a dynamic practice, the winter in my cycle? Or actually, do I need to just have a chill this week and do a yoga nidra instead, or, do some somatic movement, or just go to bed early for, simple things like just going to bed earlier for a week or having a salt bath.
Yeah.
So it's like, it feels like it's like like made my life feel a lot more simplified and true to me. And then that confidence I've gained by being more me is then kind of naturally flown more into my teaching. And starting to kind of do my one-to-one like case studies and stuff. Yeah, I remember when you were talking on the course about describing the word authentic, and I loved it because you had said, like, how can you be more you? How can you be more me? And I loved that. I was just like, oh, like, who says that to you? um, so yeah, yeah, I guess from going through really difficult periods and not feeling a sense of loss of who I was, and um yeah, it's kind of that refinding myself. I'm not sure if I've just gone off the question there. Am I still on? Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're
Yeah.
absolutely fine. And really, what you're talking about is so important, because so many of us as female practitioners, especially within the women roles within society, so many plates that we are spinning, so many hats we are wearing.
Mm,
And if we are not careful, we can slide into this people pleasing and overworking and
yeah.
trying to do it and putting our needs last on the list, or not even on the list, and
Yeah.
feeling really exhausted and burnout, and not enjoying life. And really, none of us have gone into doing this kind of work because we wanted to be exhausted all the time and fed up. And one of the things that I was thinking, the conversation that we had before we started this recording, it's like you were saying that you're going on holiday and that you're not feeling exhausted, like in the
Yeah.
before, feeling really, really exhausted. I really need a holiday because I'm spent.
Yeah.
Comparing that with now, while I'm going away on holiday, but actually I'm quite used. What did you say? You said I'm questioning whether I even need a holiday.
Yeah, I know. I feel guilty. I'm like, why am I going on holiday?
And
I'm
that's
like,
really fascinating. You know, it's
yeah.
like I'm sure so many people listening can so relate to it, because I can definitely, you know, in the past, just feeling so exhausted. And then you go on holiday and you crash and you can't really enjoy it properly because you're completely spent.
Yeah.
Whereas if you make changes to your daily life,
Yeah.
you know, you work in a more sustainable way, not overcommitting, not overworking, not doing that people pleasing, but really finding a balanced way and the rhythm that really works for you, then you can enjoy your life. Then you can go on holiday and actually enjoy exploring and connecting and really, you know, having a really good time.
And then yeah, like totally that. And like, yeah, I'm like, right, I'm really excited about going on holiday and I'm actually gonna have energy to
Yeah.
explore and play. But then also it's, you know, the day to day, like, you know, is like so much more enjoyable as well. So when I'm not kind of, you know, pushing through that tiredness, and you know, maybe I do a yoga nidra before I start my work, or you know, I do my daily check-ins, you know, and that releases little bits of tension or helps process like emotions, and that helps me make the right decisions day to day, so that, you know, my work and my relationships and the connections that I'm having with the world around me feel like so much like, what's the word, feel so much more, I don't know, I want to say the word nice, but that's too nice. But we just feel fuller, like, yeah, fuller, and there's just, yeah, more fulfillment, I think.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. It's such a big thing, because ultimately, if you think about, as human beings, we always want, you know, less suffering, whether it's physical or emotional or mental, and more of that joy and love and connection and peace and a sense of belonging, and that peace of mind, which is
Yeah.
so important. Yeah. So if I ask you, if you think about the trauma-informed somatic teacher and coach for women certification,
Mm.
if I ask you, what did you love the most about that particular training? What would you
I
say?
loved, I loved like connecting every month with everyone. Um
Yes, because you
uh
did the weekend version where you were doing
yeah, we,
1 weekend a month.
yeah, and just how much we kind of learn from each other, and that shared experience it's just so so valuable. And then this year afterwards, where we have access to the course content, and you know, I'm still kind of interacting with people from the course, and you know, practicing on each other and stuff, and it's just, yeah, it's so interesting to kind of do the practices, and like doing our one-to-one case studies, and then have the notes, and things to dip back into, and be like, oh, okay, and yeah, just so much learning there. And one of the yeah modules that stands out to me as well was embodied feminine leadership.
Mhm.
um I think it stood out because there was such a, when we did that on my first training with you, I remember, I think I said this on the course, like when I first heard that word, like embodied feminine leadership, I was just like, oh, like, you know, it just literally kind of sent a shiver down me, and I was like, oh my, I could never be that person. Like, I just made me feel quite emotional, because it just felt so far out of reach. And then this time listening to it, obviously different material, like more in detail, but yeah, there would, it been sort of like acknowledging that transformation was really interesting. And I'm watching it again at the moment. I've gone back to it to watch it again. And yeah, just watching the shift in mindset, you know, which clearly, you know, had so much to do with gaining that knowledge through the course. And I guess with the kind of Soma Psyche Soul and that whole systems approach, how, you know, we're all like connected, a sense of connection with the world around us, our relationships, our family. And I remember before I'd kind of come on the course, you know, I was finding it quite difficult to acknowledge, you know, the world, you know, is like difficult and it's really hard to see and listen to what goes on out there. And yeah, and I was finding it hard to connect with that because, you know, I wasn't in like a grounded, safe place myself. Whereas now I've noticed that shift, in able to, you know, start, you know, reconnecting with the world around me and feeling, I guess, yeah, I guess kind of more empowered and safe, to start thinking about, you know, what I can do to support the world, because I'm in a safer place within my own body and like my mind and soul, and I've got all the different practices that we've learned through the course that are really simple just to weave into my life, as opposed to be like, right, you've got to do this for half an hour every day, twice a day, and this for like, yeah, it's just it just feels more like a flow, as opposed to I don't know, as opposed to like, you know, so much structure, which I like.
As opposed to it being prescribed that this is how you do it. This is the right way of doing it. And yeah.
This is the way for everybody.
Yeah. You all have got to do that.
Yeah. And it will have the same effect on everybody. And it's like, you know, everyone's so unique. Like everyone, you know, needs what works for them. And yeah.
What I'm hearing you say, which is so beautiful, that and this is so wonderful to actually, you know, you being able to reflect how on the embodied feminine leadership, when we covered it in one of the modules of the trauma informed yoga, you know, 4 years ago, and now when you went through it again, how differently you related to it. It's you know, and how you are in a very different place, how you're not only your self-concept and your identity has changed, but actually how differently you react and respond to the world around you and your life and therefore your work, from that very embodied space, you know. And I love what you just said. It's like, now I'm in a space to see what I can do for the world because I feel much safer. I feel much more grounded. I feel much more present. And that's such a beautiful thing, because it's about walking your talk, isn't it? It's like you are teaching others, you're supporting others from this more regulated, more present space that is more you, more you and how you are, without trying to pretend that you are like you think you should be because other people are like this and doing things in the way that other people say that you should be doing it. And it comes more from within you, which is so beautiful. It's really lovely, really lovely. So tell me, what's next for you? What's you know, what is your vision? I mean, you mentioned a little bit, but tell us a little bit more.
So I'd like to kind of work with the grief circles online, for women as support. And I love like doing the one-to-one stuff. I'd mentioned right at the start of my yoga journey, as I said, you know, I wanted to do one-to-one stuff, but it's taken me this journey to get there. And since I've started doing my case studies, I really enjoy kind of working in that space. So I definitely want to grow that and explore, kind of how and where I can support people there, whether it will be specifically kind of around baby loss, or whether it will be a little bit wider. I'm not sure yet. And then in September, I want to launch like an online course. But I'm not sure what that looks like yet. I'm kind of working with people and kind of seeing kind of what feeds through. But I'm hoping that's going to happen in September. And then so that's basically kind of how it looks. I want to the one-to-one stuff, like an online course, and then like the grief circles online. And then I'll still kind of carry on like my community work. So I've built that up over the last 5 years, and that's feeling like really quite healthy now. So like community like classes and retreats, and I do like extended classes as well, where we can go a little bit deeper and bring in the work that I've done from the course, like around connecting with emotions through like movement and meditation, and somatic movement as well. I did my first extended class the other day where I did a like somatic movement intro, which people seem to really kind of connect with and enjoy. So it's all kind of at the beginning, feels like a big kind of like transition into, like, when you start a business, you're like, I want to start a business, but then I've felt for many years as well, what is my business? Like, what is kind of what am I kind of representing? Who do I want to support? And I just I feel like the course has really helped me find that, like, by that connection with myself. And then it's like, right, okay, I kind of have more of a vision now of like the direction I'm moving in. So
Wonderful. So if people wanted to connect with you, how can they find you?
I have a website, www.earthcircleunite.com. And then I'm also on Facebook, merging the two there. I'm also on Facebook under Earth Circle, and on Instagram as well under Earth Circle _unite.
Wonderful. I will attach the link to your website with the podcast description. So, I think it's important if there are any women that would like to connect through the circles that you run or through one-to-one work, it will be easy for them to find you. Thank you so much, Anna. It's such a pleasure chatting with you and being part of your journey and witnessing all the changes, and you sharing your passion and you sharing your love. So thank you so much for taking time to speak with me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.